Ladies and gentlemen, the saga continues, but it does appear that we are on the brink of getting this all figured out and squared away. A massive update was just dropped by Ian Rapaport. We'll, of course, talk about it, discuss what it means, and why I do believe that we will figure something out really quickly. So, I think we'll finally have an answer here pretty soon, and it sounds like there's only two options on the table. So we're going to talk about all those things right now, but you already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat. Smash that like button. Let's talk about the latest, I would consider breaking news in the Brandon Aiyuk trade saga. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. All right, everyone, we have a pretty substantial report going on right now that has the potential to have a massive shakeup with how the 49ers roster is currently constructed. So we're going to talk about those things, but let's first set the table of where we are currently at throughout the weekend. I made a video earlier this morning on the most recent update I have heard about this Brandon Aiyuk situation from Mike Garafolo of the NFL Network. Reportedly, the 49ers offered Brandon Aiyuk a contract over the weekend. And from what Garafolo is saying, is he's basically saying that Brandon Aiyuk wasn't liking what offer was presented to him. And so as of yesterday, around 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we don't really know where we're at. 49ers offered a deal. Brandon Aiyuk didn't accept it. And that's where we last heard yesterday. So the fact that we are hearing this specific news today tells me we are on the final leg of this Brandon Aiyuk situation. We all know the 49ers have exhausted every option for a potential trade. We know what happened with the Patriots. We know what happened with the Cleveland Browns. And as it's come to fruition, is the Steelers are the only team that Brandon Aiyuk would go play for. Not only play for, but sign a contract extension for. So this is why this news is so impactful to the situation as we continue to monitor what's happening. And again, a lot of this has been trying to discern what's real, what's not. This to me feels pretty real. So this is what's sparking this news. Ian Rapaport put out an update on Brandon Aiyuk saying that the Steelers and 49ers have a deal on a potential trade, and Pitt is in a good place on the Brandon Aiyuk contract. Source says if SF gives the final sign off, it's done. So what does this mean? Let's break it all down. As someone who has ingested every single piece of Brandon Aiyuk news that has come out this offseason, I feel I have a pretty good sense of what this means, and I'm sure you do as well. Effectively, what Ian Rapaport is saying is that the Steelers and 49ers have a deal in place, meaning the hang-up so far of why Brandon Aiyuk hasn't been traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers to begin with, per previous reports, was the 49ers and Steelers couldn't agree to trade compensation, right? We heard yesterday that the 49ers were asking for either Minkah Fitzpatrick, Pat Freiermuth, or George Pickens, along with a second or third round pick in return. So that's what, and I don't know how true that is, but that's what we're hearing of why the 49ers and Steelers haven't been able to come to terms on a trade. So this is a substantial update because the information about Brandon Aiyuk being in a good place, meaning he will accept the deal and the terms of the deal from Pittsburgh Steelers. We knew that already. We knew that for about a week or now. What the final piece was the Steelers and 49ers coming to terms on trade compensation. So that apparently is done, according to Ian Rapaport. The big hangup in the trade to send him to the Steelers was that officially, or not officially, according to Ian Rapaport, that has been confirmed. And basically what he's saying is all the 49ers have to do is say yes. That's it, right? So it sounds like the Steelers have matched what the 49ers want in regards to trade return. And we already know Ayuk will sign there. So basically, where we are currently at is 49ers just have to say yes, and it's done. And as you can see on the next line, what Ian Rapoport is saying is SF has an offer out to Ayuk on a long-term deal for him to stay. He hasn't accepted. So most likely, this is coming from inside the 49ers, and they're effectively saying these are the two options. The two options are you sign the contract that we have on the table with you, or we are going to trade you to the Steelers. So that's how I'm interpreting this, is that this is the 49ers saying, this is where we're at. These are our two options. We're going to put it out publicly so people like me and us can talk about it and give our thoughts on it. And so that to me tells me that this is in a place where we are very freaking close to figuring out what's it going to be. These are the two options. We've heard of all the other options. Those never panned out. This is the most real. These are the two real options. And this is what Brandon Aiyuk said. He said it's the Steelers or he says it's the 49ers. He said, stop dropping reports, pick one. And, well, these are the two options, Steelers, 49ers. So it feels like the 49ers are kind of kicking this back at BA and saying, here are your two options. Now you pick one. So interesting. Josina Anderson just tweeted this. I haven't read it, so I'll just read it out loud. Josina said, Anderson says, adding to what I'm hearing, my understanding is the Steelers believe an agreement is currently complete on their end. End, period. And has been for an unspecified period now. So they said to trade for Brandon Aiyuk, but that the organization is still waiting for final approval from the 49ers. So that she's all she said was what Ian Rapoport said. Additionally, when I asked about the reason for the ongoing delay in officially consummating the deal, I gathered from the rhetorical questions in response that there's lingering curiosity on whether San Francisco is still reviewing its options and leverage. Again, I'm told it's a waiting game. So, yes. Okay. I apologize. That added absolutely nothing new to the conversation. She basically just said the same exact thing that Ian Rapoport said. So, where we're currently at is that this is the closest I think we've been to resolution for some time. I would say since we saw the initial reports from Mayoko talking about the deals in place that were accepted on behalf of the 49ers and the Cleveland and Pats situation. Obviously, the holdup there was Aiyuk didn't accept either one of the contracts from the Pats or the Cleveland Browns. That's why that never went anywhere. Where we are at is Brandon Aiyuk will accept a contract to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. According to the 49ers, they have accepted the Steelers trade request, I guess. The only thing that is holding this up is the 49ers saying yes. Does that make sense? Now, again, nothing, we're not official. We're not official with anything. This is just essentially saying that we are on the last leg of this this situation, right? So, what we will soon find out is if Brandon Aiyuk and the San Francisco 49ers actually come to terms, or if the 49ers actually trade him away. So, very, very interesting situation. And one of the things that's interesting about this is that I've never seen this play out in the media like this before. You guys tell me in the chat if you've seen this. Have you seen a trade agreed to in principle announced before it's happened? I don't think I've ever seen that. That's why this whole situation is crazy. That's why all these reports are literally insane. I don't think anything has ever happened like this. We have never seen this before. This is unprecedented territory in regards to how this whole NFL thing works. We never hear say, "Oh, in principle, we have agreed to the terms." We only hear about trades going down when it's official. We understand nothing is official, but anything can happen within that time frame. So this is what's crazy about it. It's that we are now reporting on principle, not finality. And that is why this whole situation is crazy. That's why all of you are tired of hearing about it, because most of the things that's being put out are either in principle or unofficial or unsubstantiated. So I've never seen this before. I've probably seen every tweet from Ian Rapaport over the last 10 years. I've never seen him present a trade in principle. That's that's why this situation is crazy. That's why everyone's like, what's going on? What's happening? How do we make sense of this? It's because it doesn't make sense. This situation is unprecedented. I am covering a trade saga that we've never seen before. We've never seen this happen. We've never seen what that feels like, an ultimatum, right? It feels like, take our deal or we're trading you. It's like, but we're gonna let every single person know about this. So, yeah, it's an interesting situation. It really is. It's really, really interesting. So where do we go from here? I think that the options are very simple. Is that Brandon Aiyuk is either going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler or he's going to be a San Francisco 49er. And that is the positive, I think, to take away from this. If you are in the category of just over this situation, is that I do think we will have resolution very soon. I would say with it, I would have to say we'll know in the next couple days, right? Because if we're at this stage where a trade is agreed to in principle and the 49ers are effectively saying, here's your deal, that's it. Well, there's only two options. And it feels like the 49ers are saying, here you go, Brandon, make your choice. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think BA would accept if he's not agreeing to what the 49ers are offering? Would he take what they're offering, or would he accept the trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers? This is fascinating. The part about this is fascinating is we've gotten to see this whole situation play out in real time. And I'm not sure. Yeah, well, I don't think we've seen this before. Um, so this is wild, man. This is just wild. I really don't have much more analysis other than this is just wild. This is wild. It's unprecedented. It's something that we've never seen before. Uh, and now, being in the middle of it all, we have to talk about it. So, I guess what are the Steelers offering? What are the Steelers offering? What would you accept in return from the Steelers as a 49er fan? Because this is what we heard yesterday. Again, unsubstantiated, but it is what it's out there. It's out there. So Blitzberg covers the Steelers. They have over 100,000 followers on Twitter, seem to be pretty reputable. Say 49ers have asked the Steelers if they're willing to trade either Minka Fitzpatrick, Pat Fryermuth, or George Pickens, along with a second or third rounder for Brandon Aiyuk. So if I'm the Steelers, I could totally understand why it would probably be challenging to accept a trade of Minka Fitzpatrick and a second or third, or George Pickens and a second or third. Because obviously, if you're trading George Pickens for Brandon Ayuk, it's receiver for receiver, but you have to send a pick. And I believe George Pickens is 2 years younger than Brandon Ayuk. George Pickens has a ton of talent, but based on how we know Kyle Shanahan uh, coaches uh, coaches wide receivers, um, that might be an interesting duo, if I do say so. Doesn't mean that Pickens isn't talented, uh, but it is very interesting, to say the least. Now, the one that seems most realistic from a Steelers perspective is Pat Fryermuth and a second for Brandon Ayuk. Pat Fryermuth is heading into year 4. He's had actually really good production his first 3 years outside of some of the injuries that he sustained. But Pat Fryermuth has been a really quality tight end. But you're trading an all-pro wide receiver for a backup tight end on your roster. I don't know if I love that. I could see why the Steelers would be willing to send that. If I'm the 49ers, I would say no. I would say no to Pat Fryermuth, although I do like Pat Fryermuth a lot. I don't see the benefit of bringing a guy with injury history to come in and be behind George Kittle in that particular scenario. We do know that they were in the hunt for a tight end too, so that is something that they could be considering. But I would prefer not to go that route. Um, so could it be Minka Fitzpatrick? I would assume, again, from the Pittsburgh Steelers perspective, they would say no to moving off Minka Fitzpatrick. He's arguably the best safety in the league right now. And I don't think that the Steelers would find that trade cost prohibitive, in the sense that, okay, we get Ayuk, but we severely get hurt uh, for on defense, things like that. So Pickens potentially, but again, there's still nothing that I love here. There's nothing that I love out of these 3 options. I think the options that I would like the most come on the form of the offensive line. They're young offensive line guys. Obviously, Troy Fautanu, I guess, is dealing with a bit of a knee. I would probably still take Troy. Um, but again, I'm just curious, like, what is the compensation? Is it just picks? Because that's what it was reported before, is that the Steelers were only willing to send picks back. And I don't even think they're first in 2025. So if a potential trade has been agreed to in principle, that's just wild. That's just wild. It's wild. Glad we're moving past this, but it still feels like it's Brad's fault. It's always my fault, guys. Hey man, if anything ever goes wrong, just blame the ginger. That's the easiest way to rationalize these situations. Just blame the ginger bearded guy. King says Brandon needs to oil up and pack his bags already. Damn. Chris says Blitzberg is yelling you what the Niners asked for. The Steelers said no to this, and the new ask was for 2 second-round picks, expecting a second and a fourth now. Let's run with this for a second. If the San Francisco 49ers traded Brandon Aiyuk for a second and a fourth, that would be a colossal failure on all levels. Trading Aiyuk for a second and fourth would be the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen in my life. Personally, that's my opinion. Hashtag analysis. I think that would be disgusting. That would go down as one of the worst trades in recent memory. If the 49ers got a second and fourth round for all pro in his prime, oh, that would be terrible. Oh, but yeah, absolutely terrible. Let's see. What's Jesse saying? Let's go, Jesse. Jesse says, this to me sounds like the 49ers throwing their hands up in the media to their fans and saying, we tried, but he doesn't want to be here. Yeah, that's how I look at it too. This feels like I said that this felt like this is coming from the 49ers for sure, especially with Brandon Aiyuk's recent comments. It sounds like they're pushing this into the public because, like we talked about, I've never seen a trade put out in principle, and we've had it multiple times now with the 49ers. I've never seen it before. We don't see that. The reason why they don't do that is because things change so often. I can probably guarantee there's been a million trades that have been agreed to in principle that have never happened. That's why they don't put out trades in principle. Like, that's, I think, where the issues happened with some of the Pittsburgh people dropping reports. Was there might have been something in principle, but nothing was official, and so it becomes a dangerous game when you put out reports based on principle when you have to wait till it's finalized. Things change rapidly in this league, and that's why this whole situation's crazy. It's crazy that we're talking about a agreed upon trade in principle, not final, but in principle. We said yes. We just haven't signed it over, but we said yes to it, but we haven't signed it yet. We agreed to it, but it's not official yet. This is crazy. This is insane. We are living in the NFL version of the upside down. That's where we're at. We are in the NFL twilight zone regarding this trade situation, and it's crazy, dude. Listen, as a content creator, yeah, I've learned to ride the wave. As a fan of either the Pittsburgh Steelers or the 49ers, you have got to be going literally insane with this situation. This is crazy, dude. This is a nuts. This is I don't even have a good analogy for what this reminds me of. Jonathan says the 49ers are taking draft picks and a big L. I agree. If that's what it comes down to, if it comes down to the 49ers smashing the accept button on future first, even a first round pick, just future picks, if that's all you're getting in return, and they don't leverage whatever those picks are into someone else who can help you this year, it's a massive failure regardless of what happened behind the scenes and whose fault it is. If you're accepting a trade for nothing less than an impact player who can contribute to a Super Bowl run this season, you're taking an L. And that's what's challenging about this situation. And that's why I think nothing has happened yet, is because the 49ers, in my opinion, have exhausted all the options. And as they've exhausted all the options, they realize, crap, we're worse off in every single scenario trading Brandon Aiyuk. I do believe that's why they've came back to the table and presented offers, is because they are worse trading Brandon Aiyuk. And so they're like, all right, we should maybe pick up negotiations again. But now imagine imagine being in the room on either side. Imagine being in the offices in Santa Clara. Imagine being with BA or his agent. This situation has got to be insane to live through in real time and then watch everyone argue and complain and bicker about it. It's insane. It's insane. But it does sound like we're close. that's that's the silver lining to it all, is that it feels like we're close. It feels like these are the options. All options have been exhausted. There's two options. The 49ers will trade him to will trade him to the Steelers if he doesn't accept their offer, or BA accepts their offer. That's it. I think we finally narrowed it down. We finally narrowed it down. But I think we're about a day or two away from really understanding uh, what's going to go down. Let me get to some of these super chats. Uh, Olive Oil. I don't know why I kind of like that name. I'm getting excited, not because BA is leaving, but because I won't have to hear about this anymore. Oh my God. Also, I would be absolutely stoked to get Fitzpatrick. I think Olive Oil speaks for 99.9% of the fan base when it comes to hearing about the latest twist and turn to the Brandon Ayuk saga. So if you agree with Olive Oil that you're excited because it's almost over, say yes in the chat. I want to see. But again, I really do think that is the silver lining from this, is that I think we're close. I think we're very close to understanding what is going to happen. So far, the chat is lighting up like a Christmas tree. Everyone feels like Olive Oil and feels like we are very close and excited because we are very close. I think we're at a point where the 49er fans don't care. I think we're at a point where 49er fans are like, listen, guys, you need to wrap this up. 49er fans are like, we don't care if you trade Brandon Aiyuk for a stick of broccoli. Figure it out. All right. Figure it out. Stop putting it out there so all these content creators can stop talking about it. Just get it over with. Steelers fans are over it. Everyone's over it. Just get it done. Stop talking about it. Just get it done. Do it. Get it done. Finish. Wrap it up. Like, come on, man. Come on, man. Just get it done. Oh, fun stuff. Hymnal Star says, y'all are getting Dan Moore a second and a fifth. Dan wants out, and he is good on the line. He hates Broderick Jones. Minka will never happen. I've not heard anything good about Dan Moore from Steelers fans. I have heard Steelers fans and media talking about like, why is Dan Moore in the starting lineup for like 2 seasons? So I haven't personally uh watched Dan Moore on tape, so I don't have an opinion of him. But I do know that Steelers fans dislike Dan Moore and they don't understand why he's in the lineup. I know that to be true. And you guys also drafted 14,000 offensive linemen this year. So, yeah, I don't know why Dan Moore's still in the starting lineup either. Um, so, no, the 49ers will not be taking Dan Moore and a second and a fifth for Brandon Aiyuk. That would be a disaster. Minka will never happen. I probably agree with that. I agree with that. I don't think Minka will happen. Um, but Dan Moore is an instant no. Instant no. No, thank you. No, thank you. Kurgan says this Ayuk stuff is giving me a headache. Any news? Yeah. Yes. Yes. This Brandon Ayuk 49ers standoff has been unprecedented in the way it's played out publicly. Um, I would say for a team, and I would even say for Brandon too. Like BA seems like a really low key, chill dude who doesn't like to be out in the public like this. So the fact that this is playing out so publicly for both sides, who I would have to imagine don't like things to be public, um, is pretty interesting. It's been a very fascinating development to this whole situation. Just again, how it's played out. Um, Chris says 5 years ago the Steelers had the same situation with Antonio Brown. We got a third and a fifth for the best wide receiver in the NFL. A second and a fourth is their offer. Listen, listen, listen. Antonio Brown was on a Hall of Fame track. Yes, was he probably the most talented wide receiver at that time? Sure. But he was a lunatic. He Do you not remember that he got traded to the Raiders and refused to play over his helmet? And then he burned his feet off in the cryo chamber situation. Um, CTE ESPN. Yes. Yes. Also, I love his work with CT ESPN. It's hilarious. He is a professional troll now. But no, I remember that because Antonio Brown, this is actually a phenomenal segue because I specialize in like social media marketing. That's really how I built all of this. And Antonio Brown was the first player I've ever seen control the daily news cycle with social media. I think you can credit Antonio Brown on changing the game from a sports media standpoint. That was the first time people were reporting on social media comments, social media likes, social media follows, and the 49ers were in the middle of it because it started with George Kittle tweeting Antonio Brown basically saying, "Sup, AB," and the whole sports media landscape just exploded. Exploded. And then Antonio Brown proceeded to have a stranglehold on the media for probably 9 months. That led into him getting traded. That led into the whole craziness with the Raiders. That was insane. That was insane. Um, but the third and the fifth for Antonio Brown, that was a weird it did feel like a steal at the time, but it also felt like dude's gone a little haywire. Um, Renee says BA will regret leaving the 49ers. Well, it hasn't he hasn't left the 49ers, right? He hasn't left the 49ers. He is still a Niner. He he's still there. So he hasn't left yet. And again, there's we finally narrowed it down to the two options. So he can still stay. He can still agree to terms with the 49ers, but it sounds like they're at a bit of odds with whatever. But it sounds like he could also go to the Steelers. So it does feel like that we are in a situation where nothing is official, but we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's where we're at. We see the light at the end of the tunnel. The options are clear. There's only two, and we're one decision away from having some form of resolution. That's just kind of where we're at. Purdy Good says, reminds me of Brown in Oakland, acted like a diva until he got his way. BA should go be a cheer. A quick, you guys are taking me down memory lane with the Antonio Brown to Oakland situation. One of my good buddies was an Oakland Raider fan, and I think they had Monday Night Football. The opening game of the year was in Oakland Coliseum. I think it was against the Denver Broncos. It was Monday night, and my buddy dragged me to it. I was like, whatever, I'll go. I like football. I don't care if it's the Raiders. I'll go vibe. Bro, one of the most electric atmospheres I've ever seen was the entire Coliseum screaming FAB over and over and over again. You go into the bathroom, people screaming FAB, walking down the halls, people screaming FAB, the whole stadium chanting F. It was insane. It was insane. I just happened to be in enemy territory. But yeah, that was, you guys are taking me down memory lane with that situation. For sure. Inkoa says, this whole situation reminds me of that one time my dad told us he was going to the corner store to get a pack of cigs. Now Gary's messed up. Oh my gosh, you guys are hilarious. That might be the comment of the day. I don't know. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. That might be the comment of the day. Guys, I promise you, the best way to handle this situation is just try to take your emotions out of it. Try to have some fun with it. Because right now, if you let this drive your mood, you're going to be driven insane. So just try to take a step back. Let's try to have some fun with this. It's the ongoing story. It's the ongoing situation. I'm I'm more likely want to have fun with the situation than sit here and stress through our eyeballs about this whole situation. So that was, I think, so far comment of the day. That was pretty hilarious. The real goat says we are a, does that say OBJ? We are a OBJ laughing stock practice squad team. I'm proud of the front office, and I'm riding this out with them. Go Niners. My hope for the San Francisco 49ers is that we are competitive. That's my hope. I hope that when we sit back and we see how this all plays out, we say, okay, the 49ers are better than where they were prior to this. And when I say better, signing Brandon Aiyuk makes them better. Keeping Brandon Aiyuk for 3, 4+ years makes them better. So, yes, one of the options is re-signing Brandon Aiyuk makes you better for the long haul and right now. So that's an option. If the 49ers end up trading Brandon Aiyuk and they can't come to terms, it just is what it is. And they get a haul, as long as the haul we can quantify and justify that it makes sense and they are better for it because they get some quality players, then okay, it is what it is. I'm still of the preference that I would prefer Brandon Ayuk to return. But man, if they're trading him, you better be getting a haul, baby. You better be getting a haul. That at least that's my feeling on this situation. So, but I do think that uh the current sentiment is that the 49ers wouldn't be getting a haul. I think that's kind of why we're currently in this dilemma, the situation right now. Birdman says, if Ayuk did end up re signing with the 49ers, how would that relationship be? Is it able to be mended? Well, keep this in mind. We've heard from George Kittle talk about contract negotiations, said it was awful, said it was like getting braces on, sucked the entire time, but thankfully there's a big bag of money at the end of it, so it kind of helps you process the situation a little bit better. We heard from Nick Bosa talking about it, saying like he really was like, dude, I could have got traded. Like there was a chance I maybe got traded through his negotiation. Um, we saw DeForest Buckner get traded. We've seen Debo Samuel have issues through the holdout. So the thing is with this whole situation is I I think it would be inaccurate to say that there wouldn't be any repercussions. Obviously, the front office who's cutting these deals aren't necessarily uh the guys that I would say Brandon Ayuk is interacting with on the daily. When it comes to his locker room and his teammates, I can almost guarantee they'll got his back on this situation because that's just how it is. Um, I think where that would have to be mended is most likely between Kyle Shanahan and Brandon Ayuk, because what we have heard, put out by these insiders is that they've seemed to been at odds a little bit throughout the situation. They've had a meeting where they've had to air their grievances and all those different types of things. So, listen, Brandon Ayuk has missed. I think we're going on a month's worth of football so far. He's missed all. He's been in the building. The positive situation with BA is that he's holding in. So it's not like he's been absent, right? He's been there. He's been in the building. He's still, chopping it up with Debo. He still has that connection to his teammates. So I think that's a positive, is that it's not a hold out, it's a hold in. The mending, I would assume, would have to come between him and the head coach. Parag Parag is the bad guy to all these guys. Yes, Parag pays them in the end, but I also think Parag makes this unreasonably difficult. So in the end, they don't have to be cool with Parag. They just need Parag to give him his money and so they could go play football. Um, what it sounds like the only thing that really needs to be mended is to make sure uh, both BA and Kyle be able to figure this out and all that good stuff. And then we kind of go from there. Let's see. I think that was it for the super chats. So, but again, it's like, the 49ers are dealing with injuries. You want to get this guy on the field. You want to start building that callus. I think Kyle Shanahan spoke about this yesterday, saying that he's not worried about Brandon Aiyuk. He's not worried about him being in shape. I'm not worried about Brandon Aiyuk being in shape either. I've been following BA for a while now. He has a really solid offseason routine. We even talked about that when he came on. But he has a really solid offseason routine. He's got a team that helps him go through his offseason. He's got different stages to his offseason. So from being in shape wise, I'm not concerned about BA. BA is going to work. And like I said, he's been in the building. So they can actually see him. I believe he's working out with like in the facility, so they can physically put eyes on what type of shape he's in. So they know that. They know the answer to that. What we know is that football shape is different than being in good shape, right? So with that, you want to get Brandon Ayuk on the field. You want to get him. You can't replicate that. So that's the hope. That's what I'm looking for. Is just to be able to get him out on the field again, so he can start to build that callus that will allow him to stay healthy throughout the season. That's if they agree to terms. But very well, we could get the update any second that BA has been traded to the Steelers, which is a wild scenario to be in. Is that we know the outcome. We know what's across the finish line. We just don't know which route it's going to take. What's that one meme? Where it's like the freeway and you got the car drifting off the exit, and there's like it has the signs, and you typically put like it's like go straight and you go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, turn off the freeway, and you are re-signing with the 49ers. That's where we feel like we're at. We feel like we're at a point where we're trying to figure out what's going on. We have a guest reporter with us today. He's going to come on and share some strong insights into the recent Brandon Aiyuk situation. So, what are you hearing on Brandon Aiyuk? Yeah, that is groundbreaking. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Are you saying anything? No. Say something. No? You want to wave to them?
Yeah.
Say hi. Say let's go. Okay. Our reporter has apparently stage fright. I'll be back in 2 seconds. All right. So our insider didn't really provide any new information. So kind of like how the situation's been going out a little bit. So anyways, there's really not much more to say about this. You know, we're in a waiting pattern, but because we're in a waiting pattern, we understand what's at the end of the tunnel. We understand what's going to happen next. Now it just has to be finalized. So it's either he's traded to the Steelers or he re-signs with the San Francisco 49ers. We're at the very end. We're at the very end of it all. And soon we will have an answer one way or the other. It's that simple. But we live in an era now where trades get agreed to in principle and are reported out, which is wild because I've never seen that before. Adopted says Niners will be lucky to get some picks and one of our spare offensive linemen, wide receivers. Steelers don't do crazy trades. Minka or Pickens is insane. Fleece incoming. Here we go. I mean, I would have to agree with the Steelers fans on this one. I don't think the Steelers are desperate to make this trade. Do they want Brandon Aiyuk? Surely they do. But are they going to sell the farm to get Brandon Aiyuk? I don't think so. I really don't. So that's why I'm personally hesitant of whatever deal the 49ers accept, because I don't look at the Steelers as a poverty franchise. Poverty franchises sell the farm for a player. I don't look at the Steelers that way. The Steelers to me are one of the more grounded franchises. They're one of the more rooted in reality franchises. They're one of the more like we're a winning organization and we operate like a winning organization, and winning organizations don't trade the farm for players. I just don't you typically don't see that. Now you see trades occurring, but the trades that you do see are beneficial. They are either even or in a way where they're going to try to win the trade. So I agree. I don't think that the Steelers are sending some insane trade package for Brandon Aiyuk, which is exactly why I'm hesitant of BA going to the Steelers. Now, again, you get me Troy Fautanu and a second and third round draft pick. Sure. Okay. I can rationalize that, but would the Steelers do that? I don't think they would. Um, so that's what again makes this situation challenging is it makes me nervous of without knowing what that trade compensation looks like is I don't imagine that the Steelers are going to be are sweating too much about this deal getting done because they're just going to sit back and they're going to wait. They're going to sit back and just be patient and let it play out. And they're just going to say, all right, we're here if you want to get this deal done. This is what we're offering, but we're not going to give you an insane overspend. We're not the Browns. We're not going to send Pickens plus a second plus a fourth. We're not them. So that's not going to occur. So that's my fear. My fear of that trade going down is it's not going to be a return that we like. And that's where that becomes a double negative, right? Not only are you losing a player that is going to contribute to your success this year, but if you get something in return that you don't like, that doesn't help you, that's a double negative. And I really hope that I'm not coming on here and we're talking about this potential trade and talking about, wow, this doesn't look good for the San Francisco 49ers. That's the hope. If that were to happen, again, my preference is still keeping Brandon Aiyuk because I do think Brandon Aiyuk gives you best shot at winning this year and into the future. So I do want to say though, shout out to all the Steelers fans. Obviously I'm a 49er channel, but I've realized we've had a lot of Steelers fans on the channel for obvious reasons over the last couple weeks or so. I just want to shout you guys out. I haven't really spent that much time engaging with Steelers fans, but y'all are solid. I feel like y'all understand what it is. You all have been pretty like you've been pretty smart with how you talk about the situation. So I can't say that for other fan bases. We have plenty of other fans chiming in and they stink. Like stink. Terrible. Rams fans, terrible. Uh Philly fans, terrible. Just terrible. But I kind of like these Steelers fans. They're kind of classy. Kind of classy. I like you guys. Tony said, uh, good stuff. I just wanted to shout out the Steeler fans because we know we got a lot of Steeler fans in here. It's been a fun situation. It's been a fun world watching our two organizations just really come together and go through this situation together because we're all in the same boat. we're we're all, whether you're a Steelers fan, whether you're a Niners fan, we're just like, what is happening? At first, it was funny with some of the reports that came out. Like it was like, oh, okay. And then it was like, all right, well, we actually seem to be on more common ground than I anticipated. So whatever it is, um, we're in this together apparently. So so shout out to y'all. Do we play the Steelers this year? I don't think so. Let me double check. I don't think we do. 49ers. That would be phenomenal if we did. If we do, 49ers schedule. I don't think we play the Steelers, but that would be so fire if we did. No, we didn't. We don't. We don't. That would be fire. Oh, there we go. We'll see you in the Super Bowl, I guess. I like that. I like that for sure. Uh, what do I think the package is? I think it's Pat Fryermuth in a second. I think it's Pat Fryermuth in a second for Brandon Aiyuk. That's what I think it is. And I don't love it. I definitely don't love it. I like Pat Fryermuth. Um, I like Pat Fryermuth as a player. I think he's actually a quality tight end. He's just been a little dinged up, but he's really good. He's a complete tight end. But trading an all-pro wide receiver for a tight end, ooh, gross. No, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That would make me not happy at all. But I won't be surprised if that's what it is. I won't be surprised. Breaking news, the 49ers trade Brandon Aiyuk to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a bag of chips. Sick. Sick. We got a king size bag of chips in return for Brandon Aiyuk. Phenomenal. And again, that's not to disrespect Pat Fryermuth. I think Pat Fryermuth is a phenomenal tight end. But in regards to what what we're giving up. Like, think about back in the days when you were sitting at the lunch table and you guys were like negotiating, trading snacks. There's always that one kid who's always getting fleeced for the best snacks, but he'd get like a bag of baby carrots in return. Like he would have like what are some good quality snacks back in the day when you're in elementary school? Like I'm trying to think. Like it's been a while. Like those little like brownies, were they like Miss Debbie brownies or like I'm trying to think when you had like the cosmic brownies. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, Oreos, Gushers, Dunkaroos, Facts, Zingers. Yes, you are the kid who your mom gave you that little tiny bag of baby carrots, and for whatever reason this one kid who's just willing to trade, right? Like he would give up the cosmic brownie, he would give up uh a zinger for the bag of baby carrots, and you're like, all right, what, I'm winning. I got the cosmic brownie. I'm not gonna. That's kind of what. That's kind of what it feels like. He said, "Sounds like bullying." Sounds like. Hey, man. Some people just like to trade. Some people get adrenaline from just executing the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like some people just like that's the prize. The prize is trading. Like we're like, ooh, that was fun, you know. But you feel a lot better when you got a cosmic brownie in your hand and you started off with a bag of baby carrots. That's kind of what I feel like. he said he said, damn, traded BA for some public school lunch. Oh, see, this is the type of Brandon Aiyuk trade analysis I prefer. I prefer chalking up this whole situation to trading at the lunch table in elementary school, and you being the kid with the bag of baby carrots and somehow you come up with a cosmic brownie. That's a win. I feel like if this trade goes down, the Pittsburgh Steelers will have the cosmic brownie, and that makes me sad. I'm not in the business of trading for vibes. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just trade for vibes. I want to win the trade. I want to come away with the shiny toy, with the cosmic brownie, with the lunchable. That's what I want. I don't want to be like left holding like I don't even know, celery and peanut butter, celery sticks and peanut butter. No disrespect to celery sticks and peanut butter. Actually, low key quality snack and healthy, but doesn't compare to a ho ho. It doesn't compare to like a Reese's peanut butter cup. Come on. In elementary school, that stuff was gold. Gold. I don't want to be the kid with celery sticks. I don't want to be that kid. Hey, y'all are funny in the chat today. Y'all are funny in the chat today. Good work. Good work. 49ers fans, Steelers fans coming together and enjoying the hell out of this. Good job coming together. Oh, I'm just seeing now. So we know what the Amari Cooper trade would have been. Shout out to my guy Brian Peacock. If he's putting it out, I believe him. He says that the Patriots haul for Brandon Aiyuk would have been Kendrick Bourne, Matthew Judon, and a second. Now, I was saying, give me Matthew Judon, Demario Douglas, and a second. I still would have felt like the kid with celery sticks at the table, but Demario Douglas, Matthew Judon, and a second would be better than a second and a fourth round draft pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I still wouldn't have loved that trade. That's the thing. You can run through so many hypothetical situations, and at the end of it, you come away with like, the 49ers are probably better off with Brandon Aiyuk. Oh, this is getting deep now. This is deep. This is actually true. The kid with celery sticks ends up healthier. God, I hate to say that is actually accurate. I hate to say, I think you just might have made that analogy real deep than we were anticipating. Thoughts on Juju? I nah. We just signed Robbie Chosen. I feel like you don't need Juju at this particular time. So, yeah, I would say I'm okay off Juju. I think at one point, yeah, I would absolutely love to have Juju Smith-Schuster on the team. When he first hopped onto the scene, it looked like he was going to be a dynamic wide receiver. But I don't know, something happened, and he just has been a shell of what he was when he first popped out. But he's not the same guy. So current Juju, I would prefer to just keep Aiyuk, right? But when you look at the 49ers, you have Chris Conley, who I think is had a phenomenal training camp. So I'd feel better with Chris Conley right now than Juju. And at that point, there's no guarantee that Juju would even make the roster. Like there's no guarantee that Robbie Anderson's going to make the roster. So, yeah. I would probably move away from that. That would be my idea. Do I think leaking the Browns offer helped the Niners up the Steelers offer? I think that was the goal. I think that was the only reason why we saw it get leaked is what other teams were offering, right? If the Steelers are like, we're only going to offer a second and a fourth, well, you could be like, well, look, the Browns offered Amari Cooper a second and a fifth. Like, yeah. So I think all these leaks are intentional. I think everything that has been leaked is intentional. I think the Ian Rapaport tweet that we're reacting to today is intentional. I think it's all intentional. It's all intentional to sway public opinion one way or the other. And we're in a leverage match. Like we've known that. We've known that what BA has been doing throughout the offseason was I believe a attempt to gain leverage, whereas now what we're seeing being leaked is the 49ers obtaining or trying to obtain leverage. So we're just watching a leverage battle play out in front of our eyes. That's really what I'm perceiving this as. I'm perceiving this as is this is all just push pull. It's all like we just trying to get public perception to sway one way or the other. That's what it feels like as someone who's seen every little thing about this situation since the Super Bowl ended. That's what it feels like. It feels like all of it is meant to kind of push aside one way or the other. Um, I like this one. My head feels like a windshield wiper. I would say that's pretty accurate. I'd say that's accurate. But so let's recap where we're at, right? Let's recap why we're on this stream to begin with. This stream happened because Ian Rapaport effectively retweeted, or not retweeted, posted that the 49ers and Steelers have agreed in principle to a trade for Brandon Aiyuk. Why does that matter? It's because that stuff doesn't come to the public light. We don't see reports of trades being agreed to in principle. We saw that happen with the Browns. We saw it happen with the Pats. Both of those were agreed to in principle. And so now we are back in that realm again where the 49ers, Steelers have agreed to effectively the preliminary framework to actually move compensation, because that was the holdup, was what were the 49ers going to get in return. Apparently, they've agreed to that. Now it's up to Brandon Aiyuk to apparently decide what he's going to do, accept the latest offer that the 49ers have presented, or the 49ers will trade him to the Steelers. So again, my perception is that I'm very hesitant of trading Brandon Aiyuk to the Steelers because I don't know what you're getting. If you aren't getting something that is a clear W in the form of a trade from the Steelers, then you're taking an L. And that is where you don't want to be. You don't want to be shipping off Brandon Aiyuk just to ship him off and gladly take an L and not improve your team. That is like when I see people saying, like, oh, just get rid of him, just get rid of him. For what? For what though? Like you can't move off a valuable asset for lesser than what he's worth. 100%. Recap. Does it look like I eat celery and carrots? No. No, I stay. I stay with cosmic brownies. Look at me. Come on. I don't want to be on the losing side of this. This is my personal perspective. I don't want to lose this trade. And I'm concerned that if this trade goes down, we will lose. So that's where we're at. I don't want to lose. I don't want to be holding the celery and the carrots. I want the cosmic brownie. And BA right now is the cosmic brownie. I don't want the celery sticks. Not today. Oh yeah. Yeah. Shoot me up to the stars, baby. Yeah, cosmic brownie hive, we cooking. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What did you miss? The 49ers are trading a cosmic brownie to the Steelers for a pack of baby carrots and celery sticks with peanut butter. That's where we're at. This dude's like, he's like, what? What did I just walk into? Oh gosh, can this be over? Can this be over? Please. Please end this. End our misery. Effectively what's happening is we are waiting for a trade to go through. Both sides have to agree to a trade. What appears like the 49ers are saying, Brandon Aiyuk, accept this offer, or we're kicking you down the road. That's where we're at. So, um, unfortunately, we'll hopefully have resolution soon. It feels like we'll know soon. I don't think there's any more other twists and turns than signing Aiyuk or trading Aiyuk. We've finally exhausted all options. We are now in the decision making phase of this process. So the hope is that we won't get many more reports because there's nothing else to report. There really isn't. Okay, let's talk about what you could see before any of this gets done. 49ers have presented a counter offer to Brandon Aiyuk, and now the ball is in his court. That might be like the last thing we hear before anything else gets done. I don't imagine that there's really much else to report on unless some secret team comes in out of anywhere. But I think we are we've exhausted everything. So the only options remain is to sign Brandon Aiyuk or trade him. So that to me tells me we are close. We're very close, but we're not out the weeds yet. So we'll see how it goes. But I would say being close is better than being far away. So that's the way that I'm reading it. I've made some bad trades. I traded Trey Sermon, rookie Trey Sermon for rookie Travis Etienne. Etienne had torn his ACL. I was the Etienne side, and I was at 49ers training camp, and they had just put out Trey Sermon with the ones, and I was like, oh, it's happening. Trey Sermon is going to be RB1, and Etienne just tore his ACL, so I did a straight up swap. Trey Sermon for Travis Etienne. It was a terrible trade. It was a god awful trade. It was one of the worst trades I've ever made. One of the worst trades I've ever made. I hope we don't get something similar. So yeah, that's where we're at. Again, wild ride. I'm only posting anything with breaking in front of it if it's substantial. Today's report was very substantial. Regardless of the fact that it isn't, the fact that it's in principle makes it even that much more substantial, in my opinion. That's the way that I'm looking at it. The fact that we're getting trades reported in principle is a big deal to me, because to me that means we're very close. So I would imagine the next breaking thing that you'll see from me will be Brandon Aiyuk's been traded, Brandon Aiyuk's been signed. So that's where we're at. Shout out to everyone who's been following along on this insane journey. That goes to 49ers fans, that goes to Steelers fans, that goes to any other just NFL fans who are curious to see what kind of shenanigans are going down with us. But hey, shout out to all you guys for coming along on the ride. It's been a wild one. It's been a roller coaster. And normally I say grab your cookies on the way out, but I think we're going to switch it up a little bit today. We're going to say grab your cosmic brownies on the way out. So shout out for everyone who tapped in. Get your cosmic brownies on the way out. We also have a tray of baby carrots and celery sticks for those who are maybe trying to stay away from sugar. So you can grab those as well. But appreciate all you guys for tapping in with the channel, following along, and just trying to stay sane through it all. So I appreciate you guys. I'm out of here for now. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.